Good morning, coming from the hills of Judea and Samaria, which a lot of the world calls the West Bank. The last 2 weeks, I and my son had the opportunity of coming to Israel here. During the war, many of the farmers have left their farms behind and have gone to Gaza and joined security forces, and so a lot of their vineyards and crops are not being taken care of. And so I, as an American, am here to stand with Israel, and as we're pruning these vines, specifically for our group, we had a group of 40 plus men come to Judea and Samaria to help the farmers here with pruning their vineyards. And there's not a machine that will do that. It's by hand. It's going from vine to vine and manually snipping at each one of those and pruning them. It brings a total new meaning as you think of Jesus' parable about the true vine and how we are the branches, and that whole parable that Jesus gave. But as I'm pruning here in Judea and Samaria, I think of the prophecies that are coming to fulfillment of the Gentiles and the nations coming to Israel and to help them and to support them. And one of those that comes to mind is from Isaiah 61, verse 4 through 6. They shall build up the ancient ruins. They shall raise up the former devastations. They shall repair the ruined cities, the devastations of many generations. Strangers shall stand and tend your flocks. The foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But you shall be called the priests of the Lord. They shall speak of you as the ministers of our God. You shall eat the wealth of the nations, and in their glory you shall boast. So here, speaking about the foreigners to come and be the vine dressers, Isaiah himself prophesies that, and this is something that hasn't been taking place up until now. And so we see prophecy being fulfilled, and I'm just honored and blessed to be a part of being that prophecy. Additional references are out of Jeremiah 31, verse 4 through 5. Again I will build you, and you shall be built, O virgin Israel. Again you shall adorn yourself with tambourines, and shall go forth in the dance of the merrymakers. Again you shall plant vineyards on the mountains of Samaria. The planters shall plant, and you shall enjoy the fruit. And so that's what you're seeing here. The mountains of Samaria are being planted with vineyards again, and life is coming back to Israel after thousands of years of desolation and of just barrenness. And I'm blessed to be a part of coming here and being the foreigner that's here to stand with Israel during this time of war. You'll see the hills behind me are covered with vineyards, and they're producing their fruit. And Israel, of course, is known for one of the best wines out there. And so it's just another verse, another few verses that are expounding on that prophecy that Jeremiah referenced to, and we see it happening before our very eyes. You can actually feel that prophecy as you're working in the vineyards here, and as we come alongside the Jewish people, the nation here of Israel, which is the homeland, the heartland of Judea and Samaria. Here is where a lot of biblical happenings took place and so forth. Another one is from Ezekiel 36, verses 8 through 11. But you, O mountains of Israel, shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people Israel, for they will soon come home. And just to expound a little bit of that, we know how this war, what happened October 7th, has really caused the Jewish people to consider making Alah, which means to come home, to come back to their homeland, as was prophesied, how they would come from the nations and return to their homeland and forever be here, and how God would bless them. And it continues on, for behold, I am for you. I will turn to you, and you shall be tilled and sown. And I will multiply people on you, the whole house of Israel, all of it. The cities shall be inhabited, and the waste places rebuilt. And I will multiply on you man and beast, and they shall multiply and be fruitful. And I will cause you to be inhabited as in your former times, and will do more good to you than ever before. Then you will know that I am the Lord. So if you've been in Israel, you'll notice how much building It refers to how the rebuilding of Israel, and that's something that as we travel throughout Judea and Samaria in our last 2 weeks here, we see just an abundance of rebuilding of housing and of the Jewish people coming home. Another one is from Amos. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when the plowman shall overtake the reaper and the treader of grapes, him who sows the seed. The mountains shall drip sweet wine, and all the hills shall flow with them. Again, referring to what we're seeing here of biblical prophecy being fulfilled, of the hills of Judea and Samaria dripping with sweet wine. I will restore the fortunes of my people Israel, and they shall rebuild the ruined cities and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and drink their wine, and they shall make gardens and eat their fruit. I will plant them on their land, and they shall never again be uprooted out of the land that I have given them, says the Lord your God. And that's what we're seeing here in Israel. As we've been touring Israel, as we have gotten to sit in the homes of these Jewish people and hearing their stories of starting up in the desert, a place that's been desolate with no trees, no birds, and to see all of that come to life. I think especially of one individual who shared of moving into the desert and being there for years, and for the first day when she actually heard a bird sing. They've been planting trees there, and it's like not only is our trees and growth coming forth in the land, but it's actually the wildlife, and there's vibrance coming to the land as well. Another one from Zechariah. There's so many of them. These are just few of them. Behold, the day is coming for the Lord, when the spoil taken from you will be divided in your midst. For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle. And the city shall be taken, and the houses plundered, and the women raped. Half of the city shall go out into exile, but the rest of the people shall be cut off from the city. Then the Lord will go out and fight against those nations as when he fights on a day of battle. On that day his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives that lies before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from the east to the west by a very wide valley, so that one half of the mount shall move northward and the other half southward. And it continues on throughout Zechariah 14 there about the coming judgment, and how Jesus will return on the Mount of Olives and he will be judging from Jerusalem. It refers to how the nations that have turned against Israel, how God will come against those nations, and God himself will deal with the nations that come against Israel. So I believe, as a believer of Messiah, I'm here to stand with Israel. Unfortunately, America's not been doing so well in standing with Israel and the current war situation. We've just got a lot of bad things coming from the Biden administration in supporting Israel. Yeah, they've helped them in quite a few ways in supplying ammunition and so forth for the war, but they're also holding back that ammunition and are actually crippling Israel from dealing with Hamas in the Gaza, and trying to control Israel in that way. And so just being here and actually seeing that play out and what's happening, and hearing the stories of David Stern and his wife, we were able to sit at his table and just hear his story of how he was attacked by a terrorist who basically stood in front of his car and just whirled on them and started firing shots at David and his wife, who were sitting in the car. And I'm going to have a video on David's story on that, and I'll have that in the link below, where you can hear David and his wife share their experience of how he was shot in the head, he was shot in the arm, and how he miraculously survived that shooting. So there's a great need here in Israel. Our group has been able to prune lots of acreage here in Samaria. But as you'll notice, and actually you'll probably not be able to see, but the hill in the distance is a hill that has not been pruned yet. And unfortunately, that hill may not be pruned this year. And there's going to be hundreds of acres of vineyards that will never get pruned this year. And it'll be a total crop loss for that farmer. And so there's a huge need here. And I just cry out to the people of the nations to come here to Israel and to consider blessing the nation of Israel. God himself said, those who bless Israel, he will bless. Those who curse Israel will be cursed. And so I think that's going to play out in the end times here, in how we respond and how we engage with Israel, whether we're here to support them, to stand with them, or if we're against the Jewish nation. And I think it's very critical that we make a choice on where we stand and with whom we stand. Just being here in the land, in the back here, the small mount in the center here that you'll notice is the community, the village of Ofra, which is the village where Gideon was from. He destroyed his father's altars in that village. That story unfolds in Judges 6. So just, being able to see these villages where our forefathers traveled through, where they dwelt, being on Mount Moriah, the Oaks of Moriah there, where Abraham was at, all just brings the story to life as we read the scriptures. The other day we were at Hebron, and there we visited the tomb of Jesse and Ruth, where they are buried, and our crew of 40 men were able to be there and help clean up the area around there, trimming some trees there and carrying in some tile and stuff to clean up that area as part of the restoration process of making it a more attractive site for tourists to come to, and to just put locations to put a face to these locations where people come to visit. Because I think there's so much more about, as we read our Bibles, we as Christians in the West tend to spiritualize everything, and there is that spiritual element of it. But I wonder if we might not have taken it too far, and there's a very physical part of it. Jesus is coming back to Jerusalem. He's physically going to show up here in the land of Israel, and he's going to judge the nations from here. And it's not in the cosmos as we often think of just being swished away to heaven. It's actually as we pray, on this earth as in heaven. So it's about bringing heaven to earth as we walk out our lives, and it's not about just being saved and waiting for our ticket to heaven. It is that, but it's much greater than that. And so yeah, just blessed to be here on Mount Gerizim, which is also considered the Mount of Blessing, the vicinity of where the children of Israel would have traveled through, and some very significant things happened in this area. I'm not going to get into that. But if you do consider coming to Israel and you want to support the Jewish nation here, I would encourage you to go to HaYovel's website. That's the organization that we've been a part of the last 2 weeks. Just an amazing story of families from Tennessee moving here to Israel. Tommy Waller and his family. Tommy was a FedEx driver, or worked for FedEx for a number of years, doing 80 hours of work a week. And finally he was faced with the reality of, what's with my family? With working 80 hours a week is just not the best way to do family life. And so they moved here to Israel. They've been here for 20 years now and been building relationships with the Jewish rabbis, Jewish communities here in the area, and are just doing a really awesome work here in Israel. So I'll also put the HaYovel's website link in the comment below. Take a look at that. Another part of HaYovel is the Israel Guys. You may have heard of them. The Israel Guys are several men here who are dedicated to putting out media on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, and just bringing news updates from what's really going on in Israel. There's a lot of fake news out there that you can't trust. You hear a lot about settler violence and all that Biden and his administration have been talking about. And there's a lot of lies behind that, a lot of misconceptions, and they paint a picture that's not true. So we've got the Israel Guys who are here. They're out across Judea and Samaria and across Israel, and they're getting live footage of what's really happening here. So yeah, I suggest you get on their Facebook page and follow them there. Get on YouTube and subscribe to their YouTube channel. I'll put that link in the comments below as well. And then their Greening Israel project, which is about planting trees throughout Judea and Samaria and greening Israel to bring life back to the mountains that were desolate for thousands of years, but have been restored and are being restored. And I'll put that link in the comments as well, so you can visit that and take a look at that. But yeah, if you have, feel free to reach out to me. Our church congregation back home in Holmes County is excited about partnering here. This is our second group that's been here, and we've got more coming this summer to help with the harvest. All of these fields need to be harvested this summer, and there's a huge need to help harvest these. And so get on HaYovel's website. They've got tree pruning, or tree planting, you've got the pruning, you've got the harvest of the grapes, and some special ops projects that they're doing. And I just invite you to be part of biblical prophecy and come to the land of Israel and bless the people here. And I can guarantee you will be blessed in ways that you can't imagine. I myself have been blessed in being here, and just the treasured memories of being here with my oldest son Japheth, and working alongside him in the vineyards here, and with other people from the nations. We had people here from Australia, New Zealand, and various states throughout the U.S. We're all a part of coming here to bless Israel. So thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to watch this, and I hope you will consider to come to Israel and to join here to be a blessing to the nation here, and may you in return be blessed as well. Thank you.